It's your World War III update. I'm going to make this one quick. Yesterday, a story flew under the radar. To my astonishment, I wasn't made aware of this until I had completed yesterday's in-depth breakdown of how Trump is preparing a missile shield for World War III. But it appears as though the White House has released a new comprehensive report about the New Jersey DroneGate phenomena that was evoking so much consternation amongst the eastern part of the nation in particular in the past couple months. Well, we now have some conclusive answers with respect to our concerns about what these drones were looking for, who they were being flown by, what exactly their purpose was. We have an in-depth breakdown by the new Playboy, press secretary, Carolyn Levitt. She is going to give us an in-depth analysis of exactly what these drones were up to. I don't know how she's going to do it in 38 seconds, but I know it is going to be compendious. But first, let's see what Trump had to say just a few days ago, because I think this is going to be good in serving up the answer that Carolyn provides us here.
A story that kind of disappeared very suddenly. Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you said that you thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
What drones? They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine. I'm going to give you a report on drones about one day into the administration, because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only with me. Glenn was telling me to...
I believe he was sincere at the time about this report. Now, if you haven't figured it out, I'm obviously being a little bit sarcastic, because I don't think this report is going to do the topic justice, but let's just see what she has to say.
And before I turn to questions, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office. From President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones.
First off, Trump talked about the drones on several occasions. So why couldn't he come out and talk about it to everybody? Why did he have to put her to this task?
After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons.
Okay, wait. I got to get a pen. This is too much. Hang on a sec here. Slow down.
For New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons.
Research. Search. What are they searching for?
Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones.
Right, enjoy. I'm glad they enjoy it. I wouldn't have known that they were hobbyists that they didn't enjoy it.
Got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
Okay, so it was not the enemy. No big deal. Everybody go back to sleep, right? Research and other various reasons. So are they going to provide us details about what type of research? Okay, now this begs the question though, like let's get real, okay? All jokes aside, I think that the threat is probably still out there, okay? Because I think if there was closure to this particular issue, they would likely provide us a more in-depth explanation, okay? And the fact that they're not, the fact that their story is essentially exactly the same as the Biden administration's. Remember when Pat Ryder, Pentagon spokesperson, came out and said, hey, yeah, these are just FAA. The FAA knows what they are. The military knows what they are. There's no reason to worry. Okay, so all the information that we've received here is that they're doing various activities, which is a redundant statement if I ever heard one, and that they're doing research. Okay, the answer is in the word. They're telling people with ears to hear. They were searching for something. What could they have possibly been searching for? We must presume that it was something illicit or something negative, something that was bad for the population. Maybe it was some toxic release. Maybe it was some nuclear materials. It was something that they were looking for a significant amount of time. In fact, it was so significant that, recall, Trump did not want to go to Bedminster at the time. And Trump has been flip-flopping on this issue, much like I flip-flop on Trump. And some people say, you always contradict yourself. And it's because I'm thoughtful and I'm ambivalent about these issues because I don't have all the answers. If I leaned into MAGA and I put a little cross around my neck like Bessie Lou here, I'd be a centimillionaire by now. I would have over $100 million in the bank. You understand? The fact that I'm truly inquisitive about these things is often to my own detriment. And it's funny because I'm the one who's being honest here, guys. The people who are trying to sell you something or engage in political rage bait, they're the ones who are getting rich hand over fist, okay? But that doesn't matter. It's just a tragic story to go off on this tangent. It is a tragic thing that if you try to do the right thing, it tends not to be rewarded. And the right thing at this point in time is keeping it center, keeping it even keeled, because I don't know where this shit's going to land here. But I can tell you one thing, we are being lied to, whether it's a noble lie or one which is perhaps more nefarious. I don't know. As far as Trump's concerned, I mean, the guy's got so much stuff going on, he could have probably just forgot that he said this.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people. And they should, because the people are really...
It's just research and various activities. Now, let him finish, then I'll talk.
I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
We
Want to know the truth? They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Now, you're saying that in jest, but clearly there was some truth to that statement, alluding to the fact, two buzzwords, really, that I'll avoid Westminster and the military, suggesting that this was indeed a threat. And then just 2 weeks later, he said the following.
Is it anything these drones? Is there anything that you need to be worried
No, I think it's terrible. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
So he didn't know what it was, or he did, and maybe he wasn't fully debriefed on what it was?
Can you commit to some kind of...
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay? Yeah, why don't we find out immediately? I mean, I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was.
Testing things.
They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting, right?
Now, let's play the devil's advocate here for a second, okay? If you're the government and you're concerned that there might be a threat that would evoke panic in the population, which would make your job of neutralizing said threat more difficult, you might be justified in not telling the population. Now, for all of us plebes, that's not the answer that we would prefer. However, it is arguably one of the most utilitarian things to do. Now, again, there's a debate to be had there as to whether or not that is the most ethical choice to make. If this is a genuine national security threat, you would not want to tip off who was ever engaged in that activity that you were out there looking for them. You would not want to provide any more information than you need to. So in that respect, I think it's justified. Now, the fact that they haven't came out and disclosed anything else makes me believe that the threat is still out there. I think they would have provided us more information. In fact, I think if the threat had actually passed, there would be very little reason for them to prevent people from knowing the truth of what kind of research was being conducted. unless there was something like really bad going on. But based on the radiation readings that people were taking at the time, it's not like there was an excess in radiation. Was there the potential for some other illicit activity that was going on? Maybe some, I don't know, narcotics or weapons smuggling. I don't know what they could possibly be trying to ascertain from drones in the middle of the night that didn't involve thermal optics and night vision. But I think this is a sign that the threat is likely still there. And the fact that Trump did not come out and talk about this particular issue, I guess we'll find out. Maybe he will at some point when pressed. Typically, he has no problem just freewheeling it with reporters' questions. So maybe we'll get more information out of Trump. Maybe we'll get a few more secrets, and we'll have to, some Easter eggs that we'll have to try to decipher. But it appears as though they've now put this issue to bed. And I don't think we're going to get any more information that goes beyond that incredibly condescending insult to our intelligence that the Playboy, what's her name, press secretary, Kelly Bundy, that's her new name. Trump can give him nicknames. I can give him nicknames. Kelly Bundy. But I swear, man, hey, if World War III is coming down the pike, and they're hitting the panic button and they're saying, don't worry, everything's going to be all right, it might as well be from somebody who looks like that. Let's just get real. Trump knows how to pick him, man. I'll give him that much. So, threat level dissipated. All is well. But I'm telling you right now, I don't think all is well. Do not be surprised if a few weeks, months, maybe even years go by and something big happens on the East Coast. I think it will be related to what is happening here. There is no reason for them to not tell people what's going on unless the only possible explanation. Can you guys think of anything else? Testing military hardware doesn't really make sense. Okay, so let's say you were testing military drones in an urban environment to determine, their effectiveness in terms of tracking people in an urban environment. Just tell people that. Tell people it was our military and they're doing testing. It'll make for some great headlines. It'll dissipate in the news. And it's a lot better than people freaking out and shooting at the drones with shotguns, right? But they didn't come out and say that. In fact, they, in a very dismissive manner, gave us this 38-second soundbite that for a person like me whose finger is on the pulse of the news 24/7, when something happens, I usually get the information like within a minute of it happening. That's just because I'm so well connected with a lot of these various resources that I use to aggregate news every day. I didn't even hear about this. So it was clearly under the radar. Perhaps I was too fixated on what I was doing. But this is it. That's the end of the story. And are people going to continue to see these drones in the sky now and just say, oh, it's an FAA-approved thing doing research? Is that the new thing? And of course, the mainstream media is running in the opposite direction. So many of them are saying, see, Biden didn't lie all along. Trump, I believe Trump was sincere in that he genuinely thought there was a threat there. But I think once he was actually debriefed about it, you could see the reticence in his voice that he realized that there's a good reason why they're not disclosing what they're disclosing, because it would induce a panic. People would freak out if they thought there was a nuke in New Jersey and the government was looking for it. Okay, but now the problem is that if shit goes down, then people are really going to be connecting dots. But let's face it. Let's just really face it. When it comes down to it, we are like a cat with a laser pointer. We can have our attention so easily corralled in whatever sort of direction they want that, they can do and say anything at this point. They can just change a blue square to red, and then all of a sudden, the right is the rebels and the left is the establishment. And it's just the age-old back and forth game of things. And again, guys, I know people think that I contradict myself a lot, and that is sincerely because I don't have all the answers. I don't view this from a political prism. I view this first starting off with how can I ascertain the truth to the best of my ability, trying to contain my own political biases, because we all have biases in the sense that we all have our moral inclinations. But, you know, like today, I was criticizing Elizabeth Warren because of her remarks and her glaring review of, what's his face, RFK. I don't even like RFK, but I'm an honest person. And when I see somebody unjustly reprimanded in the way that he was today, when she is basically protecting these billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies, and here's RFK who's, trying to make millions, and she's protecting companies making billions, I'm going to call that out. So I call out both sides. But if you think that I'm on the left or on the right, it's probably because you're on the left or the right, and because you're over there, you see me relative to you, I'm left, or relative to you, I'm right. You can't please everyone. I'm here to try to get to the truth of the matter. And I think that something is still going on. Because if there wasn't, Trump would have came out, and this would have been an easy win for him. From a public relations point of view, especially as there's been some unpopular decisions made that have been, most have been actually increasing his popularity, but there's been a few as of late that have decreased his popularity in the polls. I don't know by how much, but this would have been an easy win for him to come out and specify exactly what these drones were doing. Were they looking for some bad guys? Just come out and tell us. Now, there's not a lot of other news to report today. Russia is still being lit up, man. And, I'm reading some comments of people, I've been preparing for 3 years, I'm just over it now. Okay, this is a prepping channel. This is not the Disney Channel. You come here because I'm giving you the risks. We're talking about the risks, just like a good actuarial scientist would. I'm here to provide you information that is supposed to empower you to know what's going on, but if you're done with it, then you're done with it. We have other content too that most people seem to miss, that is more optimistic and brand safe and family friendly, and it's all blue stripped. So anything that has a blue strip on the side of the thumbnail, that's a more constructive video. And I would encourage people to go and check those out if you're tiring of this type of information. I personally like being made aware of what's going on. Just because the world isn't ending today, and even if it was, I wouldn't be in a panic because I'm prepared. I have all the insurance I could possibly need. And it also doesn't mean that I don't try to indulge in the lighter side of life as well. Watch a funny movie, entertain yourself, go out, have fun, enjoy life. Life is short. In fact, our friend over at Demolition Ranch has thrown in the towel today. And he was talking about how, he's looking at his kids. Everybody knows Matt over at Demolition Ranch. I've never had a problem with Matt. I don't think I've ever said anything bad about the guy. He keeps his channel brand safe. He stays away from politics. He'll occasionally make some funny videos that poke fun at wokeism and whatnot. But above and beyond that, I think he's got a very neutral channel, and he did it, man. He made it all the way to the top. 10 million subscribers and 3 channels, and every video getting millions of views, but he threw in the towel because he realized he's got to spend more time with his kids, who someday he's going to look back and it's not going to matter how many videos he put out. It's going to matter how much time he spent with his kids. And what a lot of people perhaps fail to realize, and I'm not looking for sympathy here because everybody's going through their own struggle. Trust me, I understand that. I'm only saying this so you have some perspective. This is a grind, okay? This is a grind. Even though I'm only releasing 1 video a day, the amount of research I have to do and the amount of those blue strip videos actually occupy most of our time. So, for example, the tent video that we did recently, that took like 3 or 4 days worth of preparation and filming and research. And all of these blue strip videos that you see take way more time than my daily updates, which also take about 12 hours of prep a day, just so I can dot my T's and cross my I's and not know where I'm going, right? But no, in all seriousness, I try to provide you guys with accurate information. And I think that my speculation is informed more so from a place of wisdom than it is intellect. And I'm not being self-deprecating, but I do believe that most of my predictions will be vindicated. And whether you want to take my advice or not, I really don't care. It's there for you to take if you so choose. We've been telling you that the gold is in big demand right now. And that's why I flipped over to gold. I wanted to see what the price of gold was. $27.71. Okay, so still being somewhat suppressed, I would say, in light of the fact that the Bank of England, who has, I believe it's about 5,000 tons in their vaults, about 2,500 of that belongs to other countries who are trying to repatriate that gold right now for some reason. Do they think that World War III is coming? Are they expecting some global financial crisis? I believe it's kind of a blend of those two. But take a look at this story. The wait to withdraw bullion stored in the Bank of England's vaults has risen from a few days to between 4 and 8 weeks, according to people familiar with the process, as a central bank struggles to keep up with demand. People can't get their hands on gold because so much has been shipped to New York and the rest is stuck in the queue, said one industry executive. Liquidity in the London market has been diminished. Interesting, considering that gold has hit an all-time high in China. It's basically been hitting an all-time high in other currencies every single day for the last couple months, even though it's gone down in US and now it is basically coming back up to its highs. And I believe that we're likely going to see gold blow past the highs very, very soon in US dollars. Since November's US election, gold traders and financial institutions have moved 393 metric tons into the vaults of the COMEX Commodity Exchange in New York, driving its inventory levels up nearly 75% to 926 tons, the highest level since August of 2022. What was going on in August of 2022? Well, that was peak oil in terms of peak oil price. That was peak natural gas price. That was right before the Nord Stream explosions. And that was right before, I would say, at least on the surface, we were closer to nuclear Armageddon than we had ever been. Now, of course, every month since that point, we've gotten closer, but now the public has been desensitized to the threat, even though it's still very much there and we're closer than ever before. However, at that period of time, people really didn't know what was going to come of this Russia-Ukraine situation. Now, what's likely happening here, and I want to read you a synopsis from ChatGPT about how the gold and paper gold markets work. Estimates vary, but the paper to physical ratio between gold and paper gold, I'll explain what that is in just a moment, is cited to be between 50 to 1 and 100 to 1. That means for every ounce of real gold, there is 50 to 100 ounces of paper claims. In some cases, estimates go even higher, especially in the derivatives market. This massive disparity suggests that if many investors demanded physical delivery, there wouldn't be nearly enough gold to fulfill all the claims, potentially triggering a gold squeeze where physical gold skyrockets in price. So, what some people are suggesting is that people are cashing in their chips, and there's not enough money to pay out. Money, of course, real money, as in gold. Now, if it is true that the claims on gold, and Rafi Farber, who we've had on the channel before, who's a financial analyst, several occasions, we'll have to bring him back now that things are calming down in Israel. He has long since suspected that this 100 to 1 ratio indicates the true price of gold, because all these claims on gold, in effect, are driving the price of gold. So what would 100 times the price of gold be? That would put it somewhere in the neighborhood of $270,000 USD. Now, I'm not as optimistic. I'm sure the government might step in to do something. However, when you think about that, that revaluation of gold would probably help the U.S. cover its debts, because the U.S. has the largest amount of gold out of any country, at least so they claim. Some people say the Chinese have a lot more. Some say that Fort Knox is empty. We do know that in the Federal Reserve Bank that is 80 feet below New York City, which is part of the reason why New York will likely never be a nuclear target if the offenders plan on conquering the place thereafter, because they're going to want to get the gold. Mind you, they could probably dig it out of the rubble anyways. But under 33 Liberty Street, yes, you heard correct, 33 Liberty Street, there is approximately 6,700 tons of gold. 6,700 tons of gold. The biggest gold depository in the world is right under New York City's feet. Hundreds of billions of dollars worth of gold. Okay? And I'm not sure where I was going with this. I can't even remember. But all of that gold, if revalued at 100 to 1, okay, we're talking about a lot of money. What this is all, the reason why they control the price of gold with the paper market is because they need to prevent hyperinflation, because all of this money that's been printed and all of this inflation that has been suppressed by a myriad of factors. And I'm going to do a dedicated video on this particular issue. I've done it in the past, but there's so many things that have recently come to mind with respect to things that are actually suppressing the real price of inflation. And I'm not talking about the manipulated CPI. There's a lot of things right now that are keeping prices down that people forget about, okay? And so what this means is that this could potentially get out of hand, and that either means that the price of gold is worth a lot more, or the price of gold, as it always has, is relatively more or less going to get you the same thing, and the currency is going to hyperinflate, and basically it's going to be riots in the streets. Now, the Fed Chair Powell today decided not to raise rates, and there didn't seem to be any suggestion that they're going to be doing so in the near or medium term, which of course now puts a lot of investors in limbo. They don't know what to expect with respect to whether or not there's going to be enough capital to continue to fuel the already egregiously, overflowingly overvalued markets. So we got China continuing to make covert gold purchases in London. Is this what's driving it? You know, this could just all be, and we got to say this could just be the typical bureaucracy and red tape that we've become accustomed to when dealing with Western governments. That could be what this is. I mean, it takes how long to get an operation? It probably takes a long time to get your gold out. But it could just be that they're getting so many people coming back for their gold, and they're not able to make good on their demands. And that creates panic, because now a story like this is going to compel countries to want to get their gold back as well. So we may see the beginnings of a bank run here, and maybe the Bank of England is going to have to be bailed out by the Federal Reserve or the US government, of all places. Would they oblige is the question, because of course that can lead to a precipitous collapse in confidence in the financial system, not just in Europe, but everywhere. That could create a massive gold run and, of course, drive up the price. But I'm keeping my predictions reserved with respect to gold as a financial instrument. I think gold is its real value, and the reason why it's being hoarded, perhaps unbeknownst to people, perhaps known to some, it's being hoarded as an industrial metal, because whether it's quantum computing, Neuralink invasive technologies, aerospace-based technologies, computer chips, gold is absolutely essential. It's the one precious metal that is not considered a rare earth mineral for some reason, but it should be, because it is one of the, it's better conductor than silver when it's down to the, it can conduct at a smaller level in terms of molecularly, in terms of the atomic level. One atom thick can still conduct, whereas silver, while it's a much better conductor of electricity, it's more brittle, and it's not as malleable, it's not as ductile, which is why gold will... I believe that, you know, look, if we're living in some reptilian shape-shifting matrix, they're collecting all the gold because they want to build some spaceship someday that need gold to protect from radiation, or I don't know, do something, make massive giant quantum computers that are gonna figure out the mysteries of the universe. I don't know. I mean, that's just a theory I have, that there's a reason why we're doing what we're doing. Like there's this terminal endpoint of history, this, what do they call it, the great attractor that is pulling us in the direction, and that the first time that guy mined that first piece of gold, there was something motivating him that he was oblivious to, that is beyond his pay grade. But, you know, this drone story, man, it's going to die. You know, just like Saturday Night Live, hopefully, will die soon. Once again, if you want to support the channel, go check out CanadianPrepper.com. As previously indicated, I finally got my domain back. It was a decade-long fight with a cyber squatter, and I was finally able to get a fairly good deal. If you type in CanadianPrepper.com, it's going to take you to CanadianPreparedness.com, and we're working on some pretty big things over at the website, trying to provide you added value. We have a blog there that mirrors a lot of the Blue Strip content that we do. We also have the survival rating scale, where you can get a sense of how you might fare against the rest of the population in terms of your survivability. This can act as a bit of a guide for you in terms of what you might need to work on. And yeah, that's about all I have to say for today, my friends. I know I said this would be short, and short turned out to be a half an hour video, but I got to get to the gym right now because I'm on this diet too, and I'm trying to get lean once again. I was just getting out of control. That COVID sickness last year, that set me back, man. It set me back, and I just got out of my routine. I added probably about 20 pounds or so, and it wasn't good. So I'm feeling more energized now. I haven't ate since probably 8 o'clock this morning, and all I had was a protein shake. So I've been fasting for about 12 hours. So now I'm going to go probably hit the stair climber, lift a few weights, hit the punching bag for a little bit, and then I'll eat after 10 o'clock. And by that time, hopefully I'll be in ketosis state, and I'll be burning a lot of fat. I'm already burning a lot of fat, I think, but I'm starting to feel that intermittent fasting energy, you know. It's all about deprivation. That's the best way you can prepare for what's coming down the pike, my friends. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.